This is a moment Shadi Abu Sido thought would never happen. The Palestinian photojournalist was one of dozens detained when Israeli forces took control of Gaza's al-Shifa hospital in March last year. He was told by a prison guard that his wife and 2 children had been killed in the war.
Of course, I got hysterical and went through a difficult psychological state. Every day they'd use psychological and physical torture against me in a repeated way.
He was among more than 1,700 Palestinians detained during the war who were freed into Gaza on Monday.
A day before he was released, they told me, here is his name. It was on the list. And thank God, a happiness like this makes us forget a bit of what we lived through.
Abu Sido says he was severely beaten, handcuffed, blindfolded and forced to kneel for long periods while in detention. Treatment, the Israeli military says, is, quote, strictly prohibited. And crossing back into Gaza was another blow.
I looked around and thought, this is not Rafah, this is not Gaza, this is one of the scenes at the end of the world. Wiped out.
Under phase 1 of Donald Trump's ceasefire deal, these releases and reunions across Palestine and Israel represent the final stages of phase 1. Today, freed Israeli hostage Ethan Horn was discharged from hospital and came home. But locating and identifying deceased hostages by Hamas could still derail the plan. Last night, 2 more bodies were brought into Israel. Phase 2 involves the Herculean task of rebuilding Gaza and establishing a government there without Hamas, according to the deal. Today in Ramallah, the Prime Minister, Mohammed Mustafa, held a meeting of stakeholders involved in the recovery and reconstruction of Gaza. There was a limited number of questions from the media. The first question is, this time next year, who exactly will be running Gaza? And the second question is, should Hamas disarm now? We asked 2 questions that we felt weren't answered, so we asked again. Prime Minister, just respectfully, I don't feel that you answered my questions.
Sure, no problem. In terms of governing Gaza, I cannot give you a date on what will happen in 12 months or in 3 days, for that matter. We know the reality on the ground. There are real issues. As a Palestinian Authority, Gaza is part of our governance, and we will work day and night to make sure that Gaza in 12 months from now will be under full Palestinian sovereignty. In 12 months from now, the Palestinian Authority will be fully operational in Gaza.
The Palestinian Authority is not popular in Gaza, to put it mildly, but with the support of Arab countries is being presented as the most viable Palestinian partner. The US and Israel's line on the PA is that it isn't in a fit state to run Gaza yet.
In terms of disarming Hamas, I think the issue is already addressed in the 20-point plan announced by President Trump. So I'd like to, like most of you, believe that this plan will be implemented, and the item related to disarming will also be implemented. And in this context, there's no need for any factions to carry arms. We believe in one state, one government, one law, and one set of guns.
One set of guns is the goal. Gaza has many sets, armed clans, Hamas, the Israeli army, all with fingers on triggers. Now the safety switch has to be turned on. Security, in other words, before the rebuild is realised.
And Porrick is in Tel Aviv for us now. Porrick.
Kathy, in terms of security, a number of things will have to happen in Gaza. First of all, Hamas will have to take on those armed clans. Second of all, Arab countries will have to commit to some sort of security presence on the ground in Gaza, which eventually will be overtaken by a viable Palestinian security force. And that is already in train, that last bit of the piece. Egypt is currently training up Palestinian security forces as we speak. Parallel to all of that, though, is governance. Now, we know part of the deal includes this technocratic administration that will take place, and one of the people being talked about as playing a leadership role potentially in the future is Yasser Arafat's nephew. His name is Nasser al-Qudwa. He's a long-time Fatah activist. He used to be a foreign minister with the PA. Up until now, he's been pretty coy about any future role, but today in an interview with us, he nailed his colours to the mast eventually. We asked him about Hamas and taking up that top job. Donald Trump wants Hamas disbanded, out of the picture as soon as possible. Is that feasible?
Well, what I suggested would mean that Hamas, as is in its current form, will disappear because it will become something else. But I don't think that in a reasonable...
What will it become?
It will become a party, political party, and as such, I don't think that any reasonable person would object to a political party that is, functioning under the Palestinian law to function. Why not?
And do you think that would, even in that political form, do you think that would be palatable for both the Israelis and the US?
Well, it's not going to be easy, probably, but it should happen, because at the end of the day, this is the Palestinian issue and Palestinian affairs, and we need to take care of our affairs and find solutions.
Your point, I suppose, being that Hamas, in reality, isn't going anywhere. It's so tied into the political and cultural DNA of Gaza.
I didn't create Hamas. Probably Netanyahu did, or successive Israeli governments. So at least now they should leave us in peace and let us try to solve our problems alone. They are there. They are there, and I think it's a matter of principle also. People have the right to participate in politics and to be vocal and to make their positions understood and heard. Why not?
The difference is they've got lots of guns.
Guns is separate issue, is a different issue. And I told you that guns, especially the heavy guns, have to be put under the control of the official Palestinian body.
Would you like to, or if you were asked to have a role in a future Gaza governance, is that something that you would step up to the plate and do?
I don't like to make my position very clear, to answer your questions, because no sane person would like to do that.
But will you if you're asked, or need to?
It's our country. I mean, it's our responsibilities, and I personally am not going to escape my responsibility. But
what is your responsibility in this context?
If I'm needed, I should be there. But again, this is not something that you would like to do or would yearn to do. That's a different story.
But just to be clear, you feel that if you feel like you do have a responsibility, and if you think that's the right thing to do in terms of that responsibility at the time, you will step into that space?
Yes, but I might add also that anyone who wants to play a role there should enjoy Palestinian consensus and should enjoy some kind of agreement in the region and beyond.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.